Hello, and welcome to Sunday night's meditation for global healing with Vanessa and friends. I don't know if anybody laughs at that, but I giggle on the inside sometimes. And on the outside as well. Anyway, other people are giggling too. What's up, Billy? So here we are. I can't believe it's so fast going in April, right? It's just crazy. It just flies by. And Jeannie too. My gosh, everybody's signing on. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And there's Nene. So you guys can't see what I see, but it's pretty cool just to watch people signing on Zoom. Very fun. Hey, Christine. So last week we continued with our resistance learning, and I said I was going to read my writing on anger, but you wanted something? I'm not in the mood tonight, so I'm going to save it for another night. Did anybody do that homework?
There was homework?
Very, very funny. Well posted and everything that night. So if you didn't do it, guess what I'm going to have you start tonight? So you're going to take out pen and paper as I'm speaking. And don't shake your head. I'll just kick you off.
Well, we'll just come back on.
Pen and paper, kiddos. Are you Yorking it over there? Or is that an Oreo? Can't tell the difference. Oreo?
Are you shaming me?
No, I'm definitely not shaming you. I'm enjoying it through you. Okay, so pen and paper, my friends. And first we're going to go over some simple English stuff, just because, you got to remember this stuff somehow, right? So I was talking about writing about anger. Hey, Van. And what really helped me is that I did a lot of personification in my writing. It's not necessarily how I decided to do it, but I do remember reading a book years ago, and I felt really interested when the author started writing about her friendship with depression. So it made me kind of think like that, I guess. So that's what we're going to start with, actually. So I want you to pick one emotion that you feel like recently you experienced deeply. So I don't want it to just be like, oh, I was happy this morning or whatever. I want it to be like, I was really involved in this emotion. Somehow you were invested in it. And if nothing comes up right away, pick a really familiar one where you have an experience that brings something up. So take about 30 seconds to kind of dive into that.
I just found a pen. What did you say? I'm not kidding.
10 ways to drive me nuts. I'm going to say it again. So I want you to pick an emotion that you feel really connected to, that you experienced recently. Everybody's laughing except for me. And I want you to just pick the emotion first. How's that? Just pick an emotion that you feel really connected to, you've experienced recently. It's more than just like, oh, I felt happy. I want it to be an experiential thing where you felt it in all areas, really deeply. You got one? Doesn't have to be good, bad, or whatever. Just an emotion. Okay, just like we're in first grade, we're going to label our paper with this emotion. Write it at the top, underline it. Now.
Wait, what was that? I'm sorry. No, I'm serious. I'm not kidding.
Just write at the top of your paper the emotion. So mine was anger, and I put underline underneath it. Underline, underline, anger.
Mine is shame.
Shame from eating an Oreo cookie because Vanessa called me out. Very good.
Right.
So the next part of it is I want you to start to give it characteristics as if it was a human being. Does that sound crazy or challenging? Do you need an example of personification? I'll give you one real fast. How's that? Okay. How about lightning danced across the sky? Okay, we're giving it an action that it does. In my little children's book that I wrote something about wind leapt over the bush. Give it an action that it does, something like that. I'm just reading this one right now. My house is a friend who protects me. The moon played hide and seek with the clouds. Okay? It sounds pretty. The reason we're going to use personification for this specifically is because I felt like the exercise really helped me to experience the emotion fully. So I wasn't just writing about how anger affected me. I was really allowing anger to be something bigger, like really big, and like really being in it with it. So just see how that description can go for you. So Shame, do you need some writing help, Billy? He just X'd out of the video. All right.
No, I'm still here.
Okay. So see if you can get a couple of sentences that go with that. If you need some help, I'm right here. It's like a writer's workshop. Isn't that great? Okay, Jeannie's writing fervently, so I feel like she knows what she's doing. My brother has a really big way with analogies and metaphors, so I feel like I'm better at personifying, and I think that's kind of interesting to note those differences. So if you're good with like and as and all that stuff, you can use that as well. But right now, I kind of just want you to gear towards really making it a human form of this energy. Hey, Ken.
What are we
You're
personalizing?
You're personifying the emotion.
The emotion.
So, for example, anger, maybe it has teeth, right? Happiness, maybe it jumps around for joy, dances around. Maybe shame plays hide and seek. What other emotions do we have? Kristen, what do you have? What's your emotion?
Given the week I've had, it's a reintroducing of grief.
Grief. Okay.
Yep.
So grief, maybe that hides in a hole. You know, they do something like that. So each emotion has some way that we see it. And it might even be easier if you're thinking of yourself as a narrator. What would the narrator say in this story? Hey, Patricia. Thanks for joining us. So I'm giving everybody this little writing tool to encompass a big emotion. You know, and we do a lot of these things for kids, or maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe we really don't. I feel like nowadays there's more knowledge about emotional IDing for more than just for, you know, that's not just in a therapy setting. I feel like more people are tapping into it. However, I don't feel like it's really taught in school at an early age enough. Now, I could be mistaken. I'm sure there's plenty of schools that are starting to really introduce this, but I still feel like there's a big deficit in it. And you can kind of tell because your teens and adults even will have a hard time kind of emotional IDing things. So if we start at a younger age, this is a really, really big tool. So right now, even in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, this is a great exercise to really understand how deep you have a connection to an emotion and what's going on. So I spoke to my daughter because she's had some, you know, anxiety things over the years, and she's so good at emotional IDing now. And I told her that's because we really worked on it for a long time. So we'll talk about the things that we worked on. And it's just amazing to watch because sometimes I really feel like she's better than most adults. So this is why. It didn't just come out of nowhere. It's because it takes practice. So can you guys give me an example? Jeannie, you look like maybe you have something.
Okay, so mine was unsettled, and it was spiraling uncontrollably around the sky without the ability to stop and find the ground.
Wow, listen to that. Big emotion and big description, right? And maybe you can even say that your extremities are spiraling around. So it's like it gives it something to really feel like it's a person doing all this stuff and just completely out of control. That's a really good one, really deep. Anybody else want to share? Kristen?
I'll go. I have grief. It's like waves in the ocean. Sometimes they're tidal or tsunami, and sometimes they're just ripples.
So to make it personification, let's say it's more like, you can even say like the belly swells like a wave, like the emotion, you know what I'm saying? You're using it as like a person comes like up like that. So we can kind of practice with that and shape it. So I want you to kind of see how this can really change the way you're doing stuff. So you're not just comparing it to a wave. You're actually saying that it has, you know, legs that get tossed up by the ocean. I'm like stuttering, but you know what I'm saying. So it's really the experience as a person for the emotion. And I think that it's a great exercise because oftentimes, especially with bigger emotions, like if we're pretty familiar with like happy, you know, we say happy, sad, angry, blah, 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 and we're familiar with them. But when they stay for a longer period of time, or when they get bigger, like, you know, bigger emotions, suddenly, even as adults, we can be pretty confused as to what's going on. And then we'll be taking it out on our loved ones, or we'll feel really even confused and rejected, or like slighted, or just things starts to get kind of sloppy and they're not clear cut anymore. So it's pretty easy to identify when you feel like joy, right? Suddenly you want to move, you want to jump, blah, blah, blah. But when you have emotions that get complicated by other emotions, it can start to get very like intricate and confusing, and you don't know what started what. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I bet you are. Throughout your week, if you think about the best times that you had and the worst times that you had, you can see which ones are simple to identify and which other ones are like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I got to this place that I suddenly feel so drained, and like a list of things. It's not just one emotion. I feel so drained, I feel sick, I feel like I want to crawl in a hole. I said that to Carrie last night. You know, I want to go in a hole. And that's not just because it was one emotion. There's an accumulation that happens, and it starts to get like messy. So if we get really good at identifying these little bits and pieces of things, it's pretty empowering to be able to just see what started it, what's happening during it, and what's happening after it. And as we discuss in yoga a lot, it is this wave of emotion. So when you have a bigger feeling that is not a desirous one, you're able to access it fully like this, identify it, stay with it, and then ride it through. And remember, once you ride it through, it goes into this calmness. It may not stay there, but you're able to actually breathe, relax, feel, watch, and allow. So really important exercise, something simple and kind of fun if you can get through it, right? So if you can start to go, you know, my anger felt like a wildfire running through the trees. It's an action that the emotion can do. And suddenly you'll have this imagery in your head. So if you ever think about like my meditations, even though they're meant to bring you to a calmer place and a place of safety, right? Sometimes I'll challenge you and bring you to a place of discomfort just bit by bit so that we can get through it and be able to more than tolerate it, actually fully experience something and then come back. Because whose life is steady and calm all the time? Please raise your hand, shout it out loud. Tell me if your life is steady and calm all the time. It's not. There is not one person that has a steady and calm life all the time. So one of the biggest reasons we do meditation, right, is to be able to access this inner peace, this stuff that's divine, no matter what is going on. And when we get there and we can be there fully, yeah, it's totally challenging. It doesn't mean that meditation is going to make you this amazing, calm being all the time. It means that you're going to be able to go through it, experience it, not be scared of it. So that's going to bring me to my next challenge. My next challenge, this is kind of fun kid stuff. I want you to, I'm going to say knight yourself, but females, we're going to do the same thing. Like Sir Lancelot, or actually Native Americans do this too. We give a title for it. Like, for example, my current name is Vanessa the Courageous. That's what I am. I'm Vanessa the Courageous. It happened a couple of weeks ago. I'm working with my coach, and I just came up with it by myself. She didn't prompt me, and she's like, oh my God, I love that. I was like, here I am, signing off, Vanessa the Courageous. So no matter what's going on, that's what I'm writing. And it makes us both kind of like laugh and go, yeah, like, yes, you are. That's what you are. So now I want you to think of this past week and when you had a difficult time, right? And without judgment, just witness how you showed up. How did you show up in that moment? So find the moment first. For some, it won't be as big, and for some, it will be bigger. And notice, remember, this is not like, oh, I should have done better at that. It's just noticing, how did I show up in that moment when I was challenged? You got it? Everybody has the time? Okay. So once you have that moment where you were challenged, now I want you to think of, you know, this is kind of like a what would Jesus thing do, but it's also what would the best version of me as Billy the whatever or Kristen the whatever, what would they have done? Okay? Or what would I have wanted to be in that moment? So if I wasn't there, then I wasn't there. But what do I have wanted to be in that moment? Could be something different, right? It doesn't have to be courageous, doesn't have to be brave. It could have been patient. You know, Kristen the patient or Renee the peaceful, like whatever it is, just see what it is and see if you can get that. If you need help, I'm here. What was your situation? What would you have liked to be during that? Whether or not you were there is fine. Because I hear a lot about, you know, everyone, we get challenged. That's what happens. We get challenged. And then in that moment, you know, there's this part of people trying to like win the moment. It's like a fight. We try to win it. It's not really the best thing because it doesn't work out. That means somebody's losing, and winning and losing, not the best when you're trying to have relationships. So what would have worked out in this situation? The best possible way. And then we're going to deem you that quality. Now remember, it doesn't have to be that you did it, and it doesn't have to be that you feel it. Right? So we talk a lot about speaking positively to ourselves, not just to others, but to ourselves too. And this type of stuff goes into a category that you can see, again, always reflects back to little kids, right? You know, most of the time, hopefully, they have that parent, the guardian, or whomever, at least, if not their, you know, classmates and their teachers, whatnot, really pushing them up, right? Because there's always going to be people that are going to push down. So we really have people like wanting to bolster that person up and be like, oh my gosh, you may not have gotten that 100 on the test, but you did such hard work. You really studied. You did this. You know, that was really brave of you to go to the doctor like that. Wow, you got your shot. Wow, you did this. Like, you know, and that's more accessible, hopefully, right? I say hopefully, for a child. Hopefully where they're getting a lot of that, where their cup is filled, where they're really feeling like, yes, like I got this. Like, even if I cried, like my son will always ask me, oh my gosh, I spilled water. And he'll look at me for my response, and I'll go, oh, you spilled water. I just reflected back. And then he goes, is that okay? So he's looking for that type of input. And I'll say to him, yeah, it's something we can clean up. Thank you for telling me. So that starts young, and your response to it, it shows what's going to happen later on too. So we make mistakes. Immediately we look around. Did anybody see me fall? Did anybody do that? Do I have to feel a certain way? So what would happen if we were actually really acting like the best possible guardian or teacher we could probably find a lot of ways to be kinder about it, right? So what's happening now in this moment? I had a challenging moment last week. Did I show up or didn't I show up? That doesn't matter. What would I have wanted? What would be the best outcome for that situation? Anybody have something you want to work on with me? Or share? They're all paused. Not sure. I don't know what to say. No?
I could try. It's hard because I actually did better than I've ever done before in this particular situation, but I still don't feel like I still feel like there was more I could have done.
So that's less about the situation. I don't need to know the background. What I want to know is, how did you want to feel at the end or during it?
At the end of it, I just wanted to feel like I was able to accomplish a simple goal with people who are providing barricades.
Oh.
With emotional landmines attached to them.
Okay. That's a heavy duty one. Let me think for a moment. How about like Kristen the Conqueror?
I had the Challenger, but Conqueror's good too. Conqueror's better.
Yeah, whatever feels good to you. So if it feels good, if it feels like it's going to have a positive...
The Challenger was because I didn't challenge them enough, and it took me hours just to order some simple flowers.
So if we think about Conqueror is like, it's going to probably happen faster, and you're going to go like push straight through. So that's why we want the word to have, a feeling of action towards it.
Yeah.
Kristen the Conqueror better. Right? So we're just looking for strong words like that. Anybody else have something? Go ahead, be brave.
Well, I did it.
Only good.
So
Go ahead.
Now be the delegator because I'm not good at delegating tasks and I like to do other people's jobs. So I actually did a pretty decent job, but I did it because I had no choice. So it was kind of interesting how that happened. And I continued to worry about delegating it, but so I'm going to work harder on that.
Delegator's a good one. I feel like we can find something even prettier than that somehow, but we can accept that for now for sure, because it's like something is a difficulty for you. So Jeannie the Delegator, but I feel like something else would be nicer for you. What's that?
I didn't love that word either.
Yeah, I'll think about that one. Jeannie the Delegator. I like that though. All right, we'll think about that. So see how something so simple as this, right? Using a personification and giving it an action again, right? An action for it. So it's an action of riding that wave. So you're not just like staying stagnant in the emotion. You're actually feeling what it's like, right? So when you're giving it that visual too, you'll see like, angry was claws and I can feel this. And before you know it, you'll be writing a book. But it's pretty empowering, I think, to give it something that you can feel happening. So then we bring it to yourself and into a situation, and you can really work on that. So if it's like, Kristen the Conqueror, like, she's not going to take your wimpy ass, excuses. She's not going to pretend that everything's okay. So she's going to come in with her sword and her shield and go, cut that out, I'm coming through, right? And now you have those actions, you have that personification of your emotion and your anger, or your whatever, your triumph, really, right? So we have these challenges and they pop up so fast sometimes. But if you have this image of yourself, as you would hope like a little child can do, right? You see them like they go in the mirror and they go, I am great, I am good, I can do anything. You ever see those videos, these little kids, like they're doing this positive affirmations and we're like, oh, it's so cute, it's so funny. But like, seriously, guys? Why are we not doing this? Like, right? So Carrie and I after work, I have to tell them. Carrie and I, we like to blow off steam, and if we have 2 seconds to do so, we're gonna do it. So we work our butts off, and then she takes out her blow up costumes. And she goes, we're gonna go next door to the coop. Dressed up. And part of me was like, I'm embarrassed. Like, yes. I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. And then the other part of me is like, what are you talking about? This is amazing. This is so much joy. You're going to do this. So then it went from embarrassed to like completely empowered and like showing off with little 10-year-old girls and taking selfies. And we're going to be, viral on some app, I'm sure. So, unbelievable. But
you'll be on News 12.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, people pass by the coop. I can't. Anyway, so my point is, where is this hesitation of this playfulness, right? I talk about the playfulness a lot, but here we are with 2 simple exercises to show you what you can be doing in the situations, right? It's very easy to sit back and feel victimized. Very easy to do that. And I'll allow it for a certain amount of time with myself, and then I have to go, I really need to stop now because I'm not going to get anywhere. So when you're having even the moment or a situation that's difficult, I just want you to pause and go, wow, what would I like in this outcome? And we're really good at visualizations now. We're getting better and better at like situational, what do I want in the outcome? And we can think existentially of how I want it to look, right? Now, I want you to make it fun. And just make it a different way. And look at it like, well, how would Vanessa the Courageous handle this? Holy crap, what would she be wearing? What would she look like? What would she say to the person over there that's also scared? What would she say to the, you know what I'm saying? And just start to get into that, because life really is crazy serious so easily. However, it can also be really empowering to take some of this energy back that we're just basically letting fly away from us. So I can't wait to hear what you're going to tell me next week about how you use this in your situations. And look, it's already 9:32. It is time, my friends, to lay back and listen to the calming sounds of Vanessa's craziness. You ready? So wherever
Cool mental stylings.
the cool stylings of Vanessa post-shower and just chilling out. So wherever you are in your day, if you're still worrying or thinking about what needs to be done, worrying about the week, worrying about what you have to do for next week, I advise you to personify worry and to see worry as a big balloon. And as you extinguish the balloon, just see it go flying by like a bird now. It's time to just get into your body. And it's kind of funny because we get into the body just so that we can get out of our minds. But the mind doesn't just exist in the body. The mind is all around you. In fact, remember, the body is here as your port to be able to do things physically here. But you are not just in your body. Let that sink in. But first, to contact your body, we need to go where? Into the breath, right? I say like you're greeting your old friend, the breath. And because we just had kind of a hyper little intro, I'm going to invite you into humming to get into it. Doesn't have to be ohms, of course it can. Just contacting the breath and making some sound now. And maybe you need to first do some hoarse exhale where you go, and maybe you're terrible at them and it makes you laugh. That's fine. Just working with all the sensations in the body, in the mind, releasing anything that's excess. And as you add that sound to your whole body, even if it's just so if you do a really good hum, you'll actually get tickled in the front of the sinuses. But anything is welcome, just getting that sound all the way down. And if you could visualize it going down further and further with each exhale, you'll feel the vibration just make you nice and warm and easily connect from top to bottom. And just notice what happens when you close your eyes. Right, so winding down at the end of the day when you close your eyes, it might be a struggle to just settle the mind, or you might be so tired it happens easily. And whichever part of you are, top or bottom or in between, you're just noticing what's going on for you. And you're also going to notice how fast things can change. So as you introduce that hum, see if you can make it really, really long on the exhale. And tonight, if you're able to, I want you to bring your knees into your belly. So give yourself a nice squeeze into your abdomen, hugging around the fronts of your shins. And take a nice belly breath here, maybe even a couple of them, just to feel the belly touching the tops of the thighs. Feel how the organs get a nice massage as you do this, as how the low back releases as well. And then you're welcome to also add in a spinal twist here. Just both knees dropping to one side. See how gentle and sweet you can be with your body at the end of the day. And switch sides if you haven't. Beautiful. When you're ready, you'll come back into center, and then you'll slowly let the legs go down, elongating the entire spine. And I want you to find your arms in a comfortable position. So you can have them resting by your belly button, or you can put them in cactus pose, like stop signs out to the side. And that position will open the chest further. And hands on the belly might just help you contact that breath a little better. Good. So I want you to take note of how your internal thermometer is doing. Have you noticed any temperature change in the few minutes that you've been working on relaxation? If your mind is racing, can you give a quality to the racing? So I have a friend who's an energy worker, and every time she sees me like overwrought, she can actually see little zoomy balls around me. She tries to gather them for me during our energy session and just slow them down. So see if you can make all those thoughts and those feelings into something that you can catch and then slow down. Beautiful. So for tonight, I want you to start off in a very crowded place. So I want you to see a lot of people. I'm not going to tell you where you are. A very crowded place. Now that can cause a lot of different emotions. If you're like me and you're in the city, you might be freaking out. Or maybe you like that energy. Wherever you are, it's crowded, and no, people are not wearing masks, and pretend COVID doesn't exist, and you see faces, you can feel energy. There's just a lot of people there. Maybe it's something exciting like a concert. We're going to stay here for a little while, just feeling what it's like to have people around you. A lot of people. Some are strangers, whatever it is, just feeling the energy of what it's like to be in a group again. And I want you to hear people being loud and laughing. Notice how good that feels to hear people having fun. And then I'm going to bring you back into your body. So you were there in this crowded space, smiling faces, lots of laughing, lots of talking, and now you're coming back into your body. And I want you to just focus on bringing one color that you might see or experience or think of all the way down through your body. And when you get to your feet, I want you to see it explode out like splattered paint, giving some texture to that color. Awesome. Do it a couple of times. You can use the same color. Let it go all the way down through the body. When it exits through the feet, splattered paint. Cool. The next vignette. I want you to bring yourself to the woods, my favorite place. Nice wooded, mossy area. This place is also crowded, but this place has trees and woodland animals. And you're going to focus on the feeling of what it's like to stand in the middle of it all, looking up at the tall, tall trees, seeing the light at the end of each branch, at the end of each leaf. See if you can hear any sounds here. And here I want you to see if you can notice any scents. You're in the trees, amongst the brush. What does it smell like? Good, back into your body. Coming back into your body this time by feeling as if somebody's tapping on the top of your head at the crown chakra. Just giving you a little tap. You know what that feels like, so you can imagine that somebody's tapping on the top of your head right at the crown chakra. Immediately seeing a color or feeling it or giving it to yourself. Thinking of a color, letting it ride down through the midline of the body all the way out through the feet, and this time comes out like water, rushing water. Do this again. We're still at a fast pace with it. I'm going to see come from the top of the head, through the midline of the body, out through the feet, rushing water. And do it one more time on your own. At the end of that breath, the water is going to go down into the drains below you. You can hear it trickling down. Good. In the next scene, you're on a clear beach. There's nobody around. It's at sunset, and the sand is very warm from the day, very soft. And you'll take a walk here to the edge of the water, just putting your feet in that water. Feel that little shock of that first sensation of cold. And then notice how quickly you get acclimated to it. You can hear and feel what it's like to have that rushing water come up by your shins, make a nice splash onto your thighs. Slightly unexpected, even though you know it's coming. And be here for a moment, noticing exactly what the sunset looks like. You can see the colors easily. Noticing what it's like behind you, if you can just feel the wind coming at the back of you or the side of you, fully experiencing being there. And in this one, you'll pick up a seashell and you'll notice how it echoes the ocean. Deep breath in here on the beach, and quickly returning to the body. This time, you're going to feel like somebody squoze your shoulders, nice deep squeeze in the shoulders, and you can shrug them up if you want to and just roll them back down. Open up the chest. Next exhale, find that color and release it all the way down through the body, and this time it's going to have a texture more like coolness, just a cool breeze coming down through the midline on the body. See if you can find that color with it. It's a nice quick breeze. And when it exits your feet, it's going to blow into the sky. So you'll work on that a few more times. Contacting the color, releasing it like a deep exhale of wind. Great. One more time. Feel it rush out nice and fast. See if you can watch the color go and spread all across the world. Just let it out. Deep inhale here. Next travels. We're finding a nice castle. This is a new one for us, right? So you get to pick how ruined the castle is or isn't. Has it been upkept some, or is it overgrown in many spots? Is it just letting nature take over and really enjoying all the ivy? What's happening here? Just go into the castle, and I want you to hear your footsteps going onto the stones, and explore here for a minute. See if there's any rooms with roofs still on them, if there's any windows that you can kind of peek out of what's around. Is there moss on here too, and ivy? But no matter where you are in this castle, I bet you can imagine the past, and that there was a lot of history here, and there were a lot of things that were happening. So I want you to just contact your fingers or your hands or even your feet onto a couple of stones and just see what comes up immediately. Notice if you can feel the past, if you can hear anything from it. Even if a story comes up, right, we're not looking for accuracy here, we're just looking for experience. So anything that comes up. You know, and don't forget, it's your meditation. If anything's too intense, you can just shape it and come back a little bit off of it. Now I want you to take that imagery of the past coming and walk around this castle, and I bet you can hear some past talking to you, telling you their stories, knowing that so much life was lived in this place. Very, very important to visit the past like this, allowing our bodies and our minds to explore again. And we'll give it another minute because I'm sure it's interesting. So if you can find the kitchen or the galley and go into that area, I want you to just hear what it might be like with all the pots and pans around. Feel what it would be like with a big fire, because they wouldn't have an oven like we have. Just see if you can get there and experience that for a moment. And if you're really lucky, you might be able to smell something. Good. Next deep breath in, come right back into the body on the exhale, nice and fast. Pressure squeezing into the hips. See if you can get some heat around there, work on it. Notice the color that you want right away. Next inhalation, color comes all the way up to the head. Exhalation, it comes down, shooting out like electricity. Just watch it go zoop, all the way down. And do it again. Deep breath in. Big exhale. Zip it all the way down. Zip all the way down. And you're going to watch that electricity actually go down into the ground. Let it ground into the ground. Watch as it crackles all the way down into the earth. And do that 2 more times. Very good. So our last and final destination. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. You're coming to a big, big empty space. And in the center of it, you're going to see a very big, big bonfire type thing. It's nighttime. It's dark. And you can hear some indigenous cries going out. The beat of the drum. We've got a lot of movement. So see if you can see anybody dancing around. And in this space, I want you to join. Listen to it. Feel it. Whether or not you have Native American blood in you in this lifetime, it doesn't matter. This beat is going to make you want to move. And I want you to feel it. Feel the heat of the fire. Feel the embers flying around. You can even get one on your skin and get that little ouch for a second, but no, it's nothing bad's going to happen, and just let it fly. Notice how the body, you can feel it reacting as if you're really there. You might feel your heartbeat increase. That's how strong our intent is. So just enjoy this live moment. The dancing's going to get more intense, the drumming will get more intense, and the chanting's going to get louder and louder and louder until it comes to this apex. And at the top of this apex, it's so loud, it's almost deafening, but it's still really fun and enjoyable. And then you're going to see everybody sit pretty quickly. And the sound of their exhales echoes in your head like a tons of movement, and then equal chill. They stop right around the fire. And now you're going to hear a flute. And fully be there. Feel your skin on the dirt. Feel the heat of the fire. Feel the peace after such exertion. And we'll use this as our closing for the meditation. And you'll start to feel this little sway that will come into the body as everything's closing, nice and soft. Good. Nice and slow. And get that body back into a hum. Doesn't have to match mine. Thank you for this day, spirits. Thank you for this day. Take a deep breath. This beautiful day. Nice deep breath. Slow exhale. And you can hear the drums softening. You can hear the flute going longer and longer, lingering at the end. As the body fully releases into this moment. And noticing how it all feels, giving yourself different places to visit, giving yourself time to be experimenting and experiencing lots of change, and then drawing it back into one set intention. So as you return to your human form into this body, see if there's one more color that you want to spread across you. And we're going to use this color as your cloak. So we'll call this like a cloak of protection. And it's the one that draws around you the closest, that keeps you cuddled and comfortable. And now with every slow exhale that you take, the cloak is going to become more tangible to you, feeling more close to your body, more comforting. And then you'll fully arrive back into this body, back into your body. And noticing what you're feeling. So at the beginning of tonight's meditation, my discussion was on personifying emotions and using character traits to be able to envelop a full emotion. So again, like the wind howled in the night, howls like something, right? Lightning danced across the sky, the moon smiled at the stars, all these things, just so we can fully experience. So tonight's meditation was about that full experience, full emotion, exertion into one area. And then when we draw back into the body, you can see how the body reacts to being fully immersed. Okay? So if you missed any part of that, please go back and watch. And then have some fun with your writing. And I'd love for you to share and to explore with me. And if you need help writing, I'm here. So what else?